Hello, Cabinet Vision users. Bruce Chesham here with another Cabinet Vision Minute. And this week, we're joined with a good friend of mine and colleague and
Friend, colleague, additional Cabinet Vision guy, friend of the podcast, of the video world.
perfect,
Happy to be here.
perfect, great. Yeah, I'm real excited to have Spencer here because Spencer, you're not only an area sales representative, right, for or regional
Right,
sales representative for Cabinet Vision. You're
right.
a Cabinet Vision expert in the sales area, but you also have a background in business, which is really interesting to me because you have some insight into what we're going to talk about today, and that is how you can take your business to the next level, whatever that next level means to you, uh,
Right.
with Cabinet Vision and other resources also that we'll get to. With that, let's roll the bumper and make this happen.
I believe in you. All right, perfect. Well, as you said, I'm really excited to get to be here. I am the regional sales manager for South Texas, Louisiana, Missouri, and Kansas for Cabinet Vision. But in addition to selling software, like you said, I also have a pretty successful custom furniture business on top of everything that I do here with Hexagon.
Oh, you
So,
do?
uh,
Oh, I
yeah,
I wasn't aware of that.
I still stay pretty dialed in. So I love getting to talk shop with other woodworkers. I love getting to go into their shops and see how they're doing things, see how business is going, what their throughput is looking like, and seeing if there's any ways that we can kind of improve on that. So I was really excited that you kind of called me in here to talk about ways that we can up our game in 2025. And you and I talked a little bit before we started recording this to come up with kind of 4 bullet points that would kind of take us step by step
Yes.
into what we can do to step that game up.
Right, right.
So
Well, let's get to that then. Let's those 4 bullet points. Well, why don't you take the lead here, Spencer? And what are
sure.
we going to do today?
All right. So in order for us to kind of talk about stepping our game up, we will acknowledge that every person that's talking, every person that's listening right now is definitely in a different position. Some of you guys are probably in a small one-man shop, two-man shop where you have a ton of hats that you wear. Some of you guys may have a bigger shop that has 20 to 30 employees, and that can be a completely different setup. Some of you may be already dialed in with CNC manufacturing and you may have a pretty good setup. Some of you guys may still be using table saws and working your way up to that level. So, the first thing that we'll do in 2025 is we're going to ID all of our pain points. So, any bottlenecks that you're coming across right now that may be causing some kind of friction between you and the finished product. So, Bruce and I were
All right.
talking earlier. He's got a much better breadth of knowledge from the estimating perspective, and he's able to acknowledge that there are so many pain points that are typical in most cabinet shops that rely solely on just getting the bids out there. So, if you wanted to talk a little bit on that, Bruce.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Let me share my screen with you if I could. So, yeah, so I just put up this slide here of your shop. If you looked at your shop as a black box, if you will, um, this shows all the different departments. All these vertical colored bars here represent different departments in your cabinet shop. All the way from your sales department out the door to the end. You got your installers on the other end, uh,
Hmm.
and everybody can use. Everybody touches Cabinet Vision in some way. The estimating department, for example, this green bar up front, they might be looking at the material manager, or they might be communicating with other departments to get numbers back from that. So reports mostly for
Sure.
the sales department. What about the door and drawer department? They're using cabinet vision really extensively as far as reports from sizes of parts. The receiving department needs to check in the doors that come in and make sure that those are all correct, and so forth and so on. All the different departments use cabinet vision in a different way, and so not all departments use cabinet vision to its full extent. But cabinet vision, we kind of get locked in, I think. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about this as well. So let's say I'm a small shop. I'm a one-man shop, and my background is really in building cabinets. So I might come at cabinet vision because I don't know what I don't know. I want cabinet vision to make cut lists for me, and that's all I really want cabinet vision to do. And I don't know really that cabinet vision can make estimates for me as well. So I might want to use my baseline as just not, I don't want to say just, my background as production focused or production centric.
Sure.
And I want to grow. I want to explore, see what cabinet vision can do for me to help me take my business to the next level. So I want to explore drawing. I want to explore maybe how the material manager can help me better set up my jobs and make better presentations to my customers. And there's many aspects of cabinet vision that can help me do that. And so that's what I'm thinking about, taking your job to the next level and looking at where we are in our shop. You could be a big shop, well-established, many different departments, and you may not be using cabinet vision to its fullest extent either. Or maybe there's some vertical markets to explore or whatever. So I don't mean to get off topic and talk about vertical so much, but cabinet vision has so much to offer your business. And like I said, if you're just a small one-person shop, you're wearing the hats of all of these departments. You're doing the installation as well as the sales. But you could be a big, 100-person shop, for example, and you have different departments, and they all need to be able to communicate each other, which leads me to one other little thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I thought about growth in terms of the numbers of cabinet vision users you have. I can't tell you how many times. This is just a kind of a side story here. There's a lot of people that want to make the jump from one single cabinet vision license to, they want to add another person. Great, good for you. And so knowing what they know, they think, well, I'll just get another standalone license for cabinet vision. And I don't think that's necessarily a mistake, but there are.
But they don't know what they don't know. Exactly.
They don't know what they don't know. And so what happens is, in that case, is I'll throw out, hey, well, have you thought about networking? And many times they'll say, oh, yeah, well, I've thought about it, but that's just, I think I want to do it this way instead, Bruce. I want to just have multiple standalone licenses and just
on their own.
Their own. Okay, here you go. That means you have multiple databases as well. and then the maintenance of that and coordinating those different databases,
Making sure
talking to each
everything is
other.
synced up, don't create new parts. It's there. That's a great example. It's a great example of something that causes a lot of catastrophe, and some folks may not know that there are other options that we've already put in place that can be solutions to the problem.
Yeah,
So, um,
exactly.
but as you were saying, I think that leads us pretty organically into our step two, which is explore your options.
Yeah,
So there are, like you said, there are shops out there that initially got into cabinet vision because they needed cut lists for their jobs. They needed a cabinet software. They found a cabinet software. It builds cabinets. They were happy with it. What they didn't know was that there was all these other features built into the software that were included with the price. They didn't have to pay anything extra to get all these bonus features.
yeah,
But all of these features would be designed to kind of help them scale the business along while they're scaling their software along.
right.
So you start with a smaller catalog. As you start working, you're building a bigger catalog. As you start working and you realize all of your materials are correct, maybe you want to start assigning some prices to those. Maybe you want to start
Mm,
looking for ways to up your submittals game, make your drawings a little bit prettier for your customers. Maybe you want 3D renderings. All of this stuff is possible, but it all starts with a conversation
exactly.
with someone, a conversation with someone like you, a conversation with someone like me, where you say, here is how we're doing. We're doing pretty well. The software is going good. I got good cut lists, but my bids are cruddy, and
Yeah.
my drawings look like they came straight out of a box that a beginner who's still figuring out the software would do.
Oh, yeah.
Easy enough,
That's
you
such a
know?
good point. Um,
It's so quick that we could solve these problems. And in addition to that, there are a million options that are kind of cabinet vision adjacent as well that we can
oh,
look into that can
yeah.
kind of solve additional problems. So if you wanted to chat on some of those, I know you'd pulled some up. Just additional options that may be able to help step your game up, maybe that cabinet vision users didn't know about or are
Yeah.
slightly familiar with, but not totally familiar with.
Yeah, yeah, very good. So one option, well, verticals. What does that mean? Or things that you can add into Cabinet Vision. Cabinet Vision already has a lot of different options. Maybe you didn't know that Cabinet Vision does closets as well, and it's huge in the closet industry. And there's along with that, um, there are some a lot of closet companies have uh, distributors or salespeople out, and that they do online sales of that, and they send jobs to Cabinet Vision to the department or the business that is actually doing the cutting of the
Mhm.
parts, if you will, and shipping those off. And they're using software to communicate that to Cabinet Vision. Um,
Right.
and so in the closet business, this Closet Pro is one of those uh, verticals, if you will, that builds on what Cabinet Vision can do, and its strong point is designing closets and sending off those orders now to Cabinet Vision. So there's
But
so
their
many opportunities.
manufacturing arm may not be as strong on their software, so they can use our backbone in the manufacturing to be able to cut these parts out, but they can use that as their engine to kind of design it and render it, make it look pretty, and then we can kind of
Yes.
mesh the two together.
Yeah, exactly. Along that same lines of communicating with Cabinet Vision is another company that does that only with like catalog. What's the term I'm trying to think of, Spencer? For
E-commerce.
eh,
So
yeah,
like an e-commerce website where you can have an online catalog of either parts like doors or full assemblies of cabinets,
exactly.
um, that you can have either builders or just various buyers can select through all of that online, and
Yeah.
all of this can integrate within your report center in Cabinet Vision to be able to take an online order and have it go direct into your software to cut out and then deliver. Super simple, and you know a phenomenal way for you to start diversifying different streams of income for your business. If you have a CNC machine, those things are expensive and you want to keep it running as often as humanly possible, you know? So
Yeah,
at the end of
exactly.
the day, like that's the goal is, it's
Yeah.
supposed to print money for you. All of these machines are supposed to print money for you. And if they're
Yeah.
not, maybe we can help. Maybe we can address it in some way. So there are a number of different options that can help you streamline that from the beginning, from sales and marketing perspective, all the way down to closing the job, cutting the job, and then distributing the job.
Yeah.
Everything can be improved from within Cabinet Vision, or using Cabinet Vision as kind of the central nervous system of everything.
Uh,
So I think that
Speaking
can
of
be
that,
really, really helpful.
yeah, exactly. It's a great product, Almoxi, um, Closet Pro, for communicating to Cabinet Vision. There's another vertical I think that I've seen that's a good plug-in for your sales department, and that is Vortec Spaces.
Yeah,
Um,
Vortex Spaces is fantastic.
yeah, and I think I'm sorry. What's the fella's name that I've met from Vortec who's so helpful?
I would guess it was Jonathan Blackburn.
It
He's
was
a
Jonathan
great dude.
Blackburn, yes, and he's
There,
been he was in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, a couple
right?
summers ago, and just a super helpful, genuinely nice guy. A little bit thick on. It's got a funny accent there, but what a
They're these guys are French Canadian. They're just the kindest people in the whole world.
yeah.
Um, but they've created a product that essentially lets you take your Cabinet Vision files that are all done within Cabinet Vision, and instead of using the X render feature from within Cabinet Vision, which, let's just be honest, a little slow, a little difficult, kind of clunky. Now, in the new versions of Cabinet Vision, there is a button that sends it directly to this software, Vortex Spaces, and these guys can generate perfect photorealistic 3D views that you can even do walkthroughs with. You can connect it to the Oculus and do a VR walkthrough of the home where you can open and close
Wow.
cabinets. You can look at the hardware on the hinges, on the drawers. You can make sure everything looks exactly as you'd want
Yep.
it to look before you sign off. It's a phenomenal product, and so it is a subscription product on top of and separate from anything Cabinet Vision related, but you'll be able to export Cabinet Vision files directly to it. It also
I see.
accepts SketchUp files or Mosaic files, or from any of those 3D CAD
Wow.
surfaces. It can assign textures to those. It's a great product.
Oh, very good. I didn't know that that it takes other formats as well. Yeah,
Sure.
I've seen it demonstrated, and I've even uh, short story. I had a huge client in Canada um, where they had it was three cabinet shops that were being combined into one, and
Hmm.
this was 5 years ago, I think. We were combining all these different users, so it turns out that we had 30 Cabinet Vision users, and they were all standalone workstations, right? Back to
Uh-huh.
networking a minute ago. So one of the things that I did for them was get them all networked together. That was one thing. So with the help of Planet Canada, that
Hmm.
that was it was they were great in pulling that all together. I had the opportunity to train all 30 of their users and get them all up to speed with that. Now we were talking about Vortex Spaces because uh, part of they were upping their game also for that year, and part of that was to make better presentations. They added several showrooms. I think they added 3 different showrooms in 3 different cities for
Wow.
their products. And in every one of their showrooms, they had a big screen. I don't know what big meant back 5 years ago. I think
Yeah.
big now is like 85 or 100 inches or whatever, but uh, big screens in their showrooms with Vortex Spaces running. And when they booked a a meeting with their customer who's coming in to see their design for their cabinets, as soon as that customer walked in, they walked in to see that display up there on
Oh
the
yeah.
screen of their kitchen. They're walking into their kitchen, and they could look all around and see, amazing, just amazing. And they got that working in like it seemed for me, from my perspective, I think it was less than a month where they had all the users. And it's like, have you had any problems using Vortex Spaces with Cabinet Vision? No, it just works.
No.
It's like
No, I tell you,
amazing.
I mean, so the process for Vortex Spaces is you'd reach out to them. You can get a free trial right now. You can log that in, and your sales demo is the same thing as your training, basically. It's
Mm,
maybe 45
wow,
minutes long, and by the end of that, you know how to use the entire thing. You By the end of that, you'll be able to take your job from Cabinet Vision, put it straight into Vortex Spaces, get it ready, and have it ready for a YouTube video walkthrough within that 45 minutes. And then you
that's
get to
my
play with it
kind
for
of
another
learning
three
curve.
weeks for free. I mean, it's a great
Wow,
product, and they're great guys over there too. So, and this is an unsponsored shout out to the guys
I
at
know,
Vortex.
right?
This is unsponsored. They're it's just a good product. And if we're talking about stepping your game up, I mean, what could step the game up better than giving a photorealistic walkthrough of someone's project before it's even started? So and
totally agree.
the whole idea with theirs is to speed up the time so that you can close the job faster. And
Exactly.
I mean, that's what we all want at the end of the day, isn't it? So
Let's move on, shall we?
sure,
Let's
it's actually a perfect little transition there
all right.
for finding out the return on investment. So obviously, everybody's got a solution for sale to whatever your problem is. Everybody's got something that they're selling that they say is going to solve your problem, but is it always going to make sense on paper? Is the question.
Yep.
I can tell you wholeheartedly, whenever it comes to the cabinet business, uh, those dollars and cents start to add up really, really fast whenever it comes to waste management, whenever it comes to locking down and winning sales compared to all your competition. There's so many people and they're all bidding so close that it can be tough to, stay competitive with all of that.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to have a product that can do it quickly and efficiently and predictably as you're kind of working through this to be able to get a locked in, nice, solid bid for your customer. That's good return on investment because that's speed and efficiency. Same thing if you were going to go with all Moxie.
Hmm.
Depending on how much it costs, there's a monthly fee involved. A lot of these companies that offer monthly fees for the price, you could probably get that payment after the first job. I mean, if you price it out
Oh,
accordingly. Some of
absolutely.
these are like, $50 a month, $200 a month. It depends, depending on the product, but
I
I
would
would
say
say
that
there's
upgrading your cabinet vision as well, or adding a module, for example, or adding the cost plus bid center, the same kind of thing applies to that. How much
totally.
money are you spending for this upgrade? and how much will you be um, getting back, and what is the term of that investment in terms of
Yep.
payback on that
How
as
quickly
well.
can it get to you? Exactly
How
right.
quickly? How quickly am I going to make money? I mean, some of these are just absolute no brainers,
Oh yeah.
and I would say that uh, in terms of some of these modules, you know, adding a module, it's a no brainer, and the reason is because cabinet vision is so integrated. It's just one module works with they're all using the same data, so why not take advantage of that data in whatever
Absolutely.
uh, other module you're adding on. And
Well,
I'll
definitely.
talk about estimating, for example. If you don't have uh, X bidding right now, or if you don't have X reporting right now, some people don't have X reporting, don't know why, but they don't. Now, if you don't have X reporting, you can't run some very fundamental reports that I would suggest you can use for estimating. For example, before you send out your estimate, you're going to want to run a material summary report. And I have
Hmm.
one of those. There's about 7 different flavors that come with Cabinet Vision of that report. I
Uh-huh.
suggest using, it's called MTOT07. What is that? It's the material summary report with kits. And I suggest using that report because if you're using kits, you'll want to know every little speck of material you want included with that, and it will
Sure.
show you where the holes are. In other words, where I have $0 amounts for a particular panel stock, for example, or
Hmm.
it's that's one thing. So X reporting, let's get it. It's a no-brainer. So you can take advantage of all the different reports that
Yep.
come with Cabinet Vision, and it gives you the ability to create custom reports or import custom reports from other sources as well, including the
Absolutely.
community. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
right out of the box, you get 14 different cut lists, and they're pretty good. But if you
yeah.
want the ability to customize them, to search from over 150 different cut lists, and to be able to kind of tweak these reports to make them work how you're actually using them, then the X reporting is, I mean, it's a game changer. X reporting's in there. I would say X shaping is
Oh
incredibly
my God.
powerful,
Yeah.
and it's one that you can pretty much pay for it in one job if you have a complex job that involves a shape that, imagine how much time it would take you to cut some of that stuff out by hand, or to try to figure it out on paper. Just let the
Exactly.
software do the thinking for you. It's so much nicer.
If you're still in the mode of drawing out an entire job before you give the customer an estimate because you had to draw the whole thing out, let's think for a moment about the time that it takes to draw out that job. And it's so counterintuitive, so counterproductive. You don't have the job yet, but yet you are investing your time,
So much time.
so much time. Let's say you spend a whole week drawing out a job. That's a lot of money. Could $3,000-$4,000 of time
Right.
that you've invested in a sale that you don't yet have. How can we cut that short? Well, you don't have to draw out a job if you're using X bidding, or if you're using a product like the Cost Plus Bid Center
Right.
from Craftsman Engineering, you can cut that process down because we've got it all the rate tables already plugged in. You can be up and making that same 40-hour investment in time, cut that down uh, to less than a day.
Oh
um,
yeah.
I've
Easy.
said I can make an estimate in for a full kitchen in 30 minutes that includes all the doors and hardware and you name it, spec'd exactly as the customer wanted it. Compare 30 minutes to, 40 hours. It's like that.
Oh
That
yeah.
is a no-brainer, too. So, just some amazing things that you can do that have a tremendous return on investment. Like you said, you get this back in one job or less for a lot of
Oh
these
yeah.
decisions that you're making for upgrading. What is
Absolutely.
the cost to, let's say, Spencer, I wanted to, I'm going to take my 5 workstations that are on standalone licenses, and if I wanted to get all those on the server that I already have a server, um, the server isn't anything fancy. It's just running some
Mhm.
different software than my other computers are. If I want to change the licensing or whatever, what do I need to do to go to a network installation versus the 5 standalones?
So there's actually two ways you can do it. And I prefer the second way, but I'll tell you the first way first. And that is what they call a hybrid setup, where essentially you've got your server and you've got all of your standalone licenses. They'll stay standalone licenses, but you'll install them like they're a network license.
Ooh,
So all of their data will sync up, all of their jobs will sync up, but they'll still remain standalone licenses, which means if you ever needed to reconfigure or someone needed to go take a walk and work a job site or do something like that, they could leave and separate it and bring it back. Um, it is helpful as far as keeping everything uniform, all of your information, all of that. That's nice. But there's another feature in doing it what I would consider the true network way that I think makes it superior. So that first way, the hybrid setup, that would just require a network install. So you need to make sure you've got either a powerful computer that can act as the host or a server that they can install onto. And the Cabinet Vision website has the minimum system requirements for networks and stuff like that if you wanted to go that route.
excellent.
This the second route is a true network environment, which means we take 10 licenses and make it one license that's just fully loaded that has 10 packed onto it. So from there, all of this pile of licenses gets installed onto a server and each computer gets mapped to it and you can pick and choose what you want for your license. So let's say you guys have the S2M center to be able to output to your machine,
Yes.
but you don't use it on both computers very often, but every once in a while you want to be able to use it on this other computer. Well,
Okay.
if nobody's using it over there, you can reconfigure, take it and put it on your computer, output to your machine, and then throw it back in the pile if you wanted to. So
Interesting. So I don't
it's
need the
really nice.
S2M center on 5 different machines then.
Yep. As
Oh,
many you just need it for as many as you're going to use at the exact same time.
I like it. I
So if
like
you've
it a
got
lot.
if you so like say there's a significant amount of people that use the bidding center,
Yes.
but not everybody needs every single feature on that because some of these guys are just going to draw the job and then throw it somewhere else.
Right,
Those
right.
folks those folks can have the bid center put on their licenses. The other guys don't have to have it. But if at some point they need to just reference something quickly, they can reconfigure their license,
Yes,
look at it, and then throw it back in the pile. So that's a true network environment. And what that is I believe it's still the $500 network install, but then it's $300 per server code to
I
convert
see.
everything to one true environment.
Boy, that's a drop
So
in the bucket. That's great.
it's well, and I've got shops that will create two different environments if you wanted to have kind of like a fail safe just in case you
Yep,
wanted to create some redundancy so you can have this network that works over here and it has its own backup and then this server and network over here that has its own backup and that way you keep everything separated but uh you can still see all of your different licenses spelled out on your account
nice.
so it's I mean that's a good one. That's a pretty pretty handy little thing to have
Yeah.
once you start getting into like an office setting. And they still have what's called and this was released in I think 2023 briefcase mode. So if you still needed to go out to the job site and or you wanted to work from home or you were going on vacation, you can turn your license onto briefcase mode, separate it away from the pile, and then do your work. And then as soon as it comes back, it will resync everything together.
We might have to do a whole show about just that. There's so many. I
It's
can't tell you
complex.
how many clients I've had who have invented their own scenarios.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to take my laptop home. I want to, so many uh, different things. But what you just touched on answers a lot of those questions already,
Yeah.
like briefcase mode. Who knew?
Yeah. I mean it's a new world now. So
Yeah.
we're taking steps to make sure that we can make it possible for people to work remotely or work from home and not feel like it is putting them at a disadvantage as far as saving all their files and having all that stuff going. So
That's a huge return on investment right there. So Spencer,
huge.
once you have decided that this is whatever this is that you're going to do to up your game in 2025, how should we approach that now that we're kind of thinking this is the direction I want to go? What are your thoughts?
All right, so this is the fun part. This is the part that nobody wants to talk about, but it needs to be said. In any of these conversations, when we're talking about ways that we can up our game, we need to recognize that it's going to involve some form of pain. It's either going to cause slowdowns in production. It's going to cause frustration from your staff that was so used to their Excel spreadsheet for the last 25 years and they know how to do it and they know what's right. It's going to require a little bit of grace, a little bit of flexibility, and a heck of a plan. And that's what I would consider the most important part of this entire thing is making sure that you don't go into it thinking that it's going to be a get rich quick scheme. If it was easy, every single person would have it set up in their shop and you'd have no problem. But then you'd have the same problem you got right now with competition. So at the end of the day, if you're going to incorporate something like Almoxy, if you're going to incorporate something like the Cost Plus Bid Center, and you're going to move away from a system and a process that you've been working on, even if you've been frustrated with it, you're going to have to move away from it and actually commit to whatever this new solution is going to be. And you can't
Absolutely. Yeah,
and whenever things get hard or whenever you start to get busy, you cannot revert back to the old thing because the old thing is only going to stay exactly as it is. This is the only way you can make progress is through a little bit of pain, some training sessions, maybe some integrations from the cabinet vision side, some consultation from Bruce. I mean, it's all there, and it all is necessary for you to get better. But it's evident if you look around and see what some of these shops are doing. You know, it's
yeah,
the technology is there. You just have to learn how to adopt it. And it's never been
exactly.
easier to pick some of this stuff up and
Some
to
of
have
these things
resources to do
are
it.
the transition. I think the commitment part will not be difficult at all because in some cases they haven't been using them before, like in vortex spaces, for example. If you're going to
Right.
use vortex spaces, um, there really isn't a transition from whatever you were doing before to get used to using that. You're going to start making better presentations from day one as soon as you plug that in. Estimating, on the other hand, is a little bit different because I have
Right.
history with there. I have a bunch of habits, in some cases, bad habits. Um, I there's one shop that was so funny. They have this method of estimating. It's swag. They call it the swag method. It's a simple, wild ass guess. That's a terrible bad habit. But like
Wild.
any bad habit, you got to break that habit. This is just as bad as smoking or alcohol abuse or anything like that. It's so easy to go back to your bad habit. Now, one thing I try to help people to break that habit is to show them in a demonstration or in a training session how easy it is to use it, and that the very first step that you take in your estimating process must be different than your old process, because
Right.
it's that first step in the direction of making uh, an estimate with a spreadsheet, for example. Oh, I usually open Microsoft Excel first.
Right.
Let's stop the bad habit right there. Let's don't open Microsoft Excel or whatever that first step
Right.
is. You
Start
know,
asking why I'm doing this more often. Start checking
exactly.
yourself.
And
Yep.
it kind of changes your brain. We get in the mode of not going in that old direction and going in the newer direction. So there's a little bit of behavior modification, if you will,
Definitely.
involved with this. We should be, I'll call you Dr. Baker. How should we help people transition? And that is, behavior modifications first, Dr. Baker.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think the mo- the most important part of all of this is recognizing that no change is easy. And the second part of this is knowing that cabinet vision technicians are used to working with cabinet makers, not computer people. And that's okay.
Yes.
Because software is difficult, and it's different than anything people are typically used to in this world, and that's it's something that it is constantly changing, constantly evolving. So get used to asking for help, get
Yep.
used to asking for resources. There's nothing wrong with looking for additional resources, and there's certainly nothing wrong with asking us, because the more comfortable you can feel, the less calls I'll get with you upset, and I'll start getting more calls with you satisfied
Yeah.
with
Okay.
all of this.
Yeah.
We've I've got a YouTube channel called Cabinet Vision Made Simple. And if you shoot me an email, spencer.baker@hexagon.com, or you talk to Bruce, we can get you in touch with all the resources possible. But there's the Cabinet Vision e-support is a fantastic resource. But yeah, there's a number of fantastic options for any customer that's looking to up their game. If they were looking for resources on how they could get better, there's plenty of knowledge out there now. E-support is a phenomenal spot for you to look. Our YouTube channel is great. I've got a YouTube channel called CV Made Simple. It is just a resource that is designed specifically to simplify your transition into the cabinet vision world. So there's some info about how to install your licensing, how to integrate a new CNC machine, and just some ins and outs for brand new beginners. But hopefully, there's some really helpful stuff in there too.
Awesome.
So
Are there links to I know you're making some videos. Are the links to the videos in there as well?
yes, yeah, everything
Excellent.
should be on that CV Made Simple on YouTube.
Excellent.
That's been kind of my brainchild, and I've also got a newsletter that'll be coming out, and there should be links to subscribe to that on the YouTube channel as well.
Uh, where else can anybody who's maybe not in your Cabinet Vision sales territory, how can they get a hold of their Cabinet Vision salesperson to
Sure.
make an upgrade, for example?
So anyone looking for any kind of information on Cabinet Vision sales reps can go to get.hexagon.com/cabinet vision, and it's cabinet dash vision. Once you type that in, that contact me page will go directly to the sales reps. So all of those sales reps will be able to identify which territory they're calling on based on the information that you put in that contact me. if you'll put your city and your state and your zip code, we'll make sure that the right person gets in
Oh,
touch with
okay.
you.
I see.
And so so it should be geared directly to your people. But even if that's a technical support issue, or you're having trouble with something, if you've got questions about just ways that you can up your game, or if you know exactly what you're looking for because you've already done the research, in any case,
Right.
feel free to put it in right there and we'll get you squared away.
Oh, very good. Yeah, and I need to take the opportunity to let people know how they can get in touch with me. I'm a Cabinet Vision independent consultant, and I'm dealing with these kinds of issues all day long. And I'm also providing Cabinet Vision Minute videos like this. And you can get in touch with me on my website at craftsmanengineering.com. And in there, I have links to all of the things that we saw on this video today, including, Vortex spaces and Closet Pro software, etc., as well as links to my online store where you can purchase the Cost Plus Bid Center and other useful Cabinet Vision database add-ins as well. I just want to back up just for a moment before we say goodbye, and I just want to thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
coming on board today and chatting it up with me. This is kind of a first for both of us, I think. And I got
Definitely.
to say, it felt so good to talk with you. It was very natural, and I hope that we were able to convey some really useful information to help everybody
I hope
up
so.
their Cabinet Vision game in 2025.
Definitely. Well, it was a real pleasure getting to just chat with you. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
I hope so. So we'll see you again, and in the meantime, have a healthy and prosperous 2025.
There we go.